Hey guys, tonight we roll our clocks back an hour, and I thought I'd take advantage of that extra time to see if I can get this Philco transistor radio working. Thanks to your help, I now have the service info. I've got both the Beatman's and the original Philco factory service info. So, got parts locator, schematic, service notes, parts list, and alignment instructions. I'm all set, except for parts. And normally I'm working on tube sets, so all the caps I've got are like big old 450 volt electrolytics, whereas this set uses little 6 volt jobbers, so I needed to place an order for them. So here on the parts list, 10 microfarad, 5, 40, 100, 1 microfarad. So I needed to order those up. I also wanted to make sure I got axial capacitors. Those are the type with the leads coming at the ends like so, which is what's inside this radio. So I need to place an order with Mauser. Now, 5 capacitors is not enough to fill up an order with them. But luckily, a whole bunch of other projects popped up in the last week, so I was able to put together a pretty sizable order, which just arrived recently. So in addition to the parts for this radio, ordered up some caps for the Philco 623 battery-powered radio. And last night, went out to the backyard and I found a couple TV chassis waiting for me. A friend dropped off these chassis, and he actually asked me a week or two ago if I could order parts for him to restore these sets. So what this is a chassis from a Zenith portable set, known affectionately, I think, as the bug-eyed sets. So he was trying to help me out, do me a favor, so he already took them apart, so I don't even actually have the cabinet or the picture tube. I just have this chassis and another very similar looking one. I've never restored a Zenith anything, not a radio, not a TV, anything, so this should be interesting to work on, I think. So I think it'll go pretty quick. It's not all that different from the Motorola portable set that I restored recently. So that will be another upcoming project. So what I need to do now is dig through here and pick out the parts I needed. Oh, this also gave me a chance to order some of those oddball resistor values for the predicted tandem that I'm also working on. Alright, so let's see if I can sort out all this stuff. Most of these parts are from the bug-eyed set, so pull all those parts out first. So big electrolytic. It's a new kind of resistor I thought was kind of interesting from Ohmite. 5-watt resistors, but they're molded with some kind of like epoxy. A little disappointing though. In the catalog they showed them with stripes, so I thought that, hey, these kind of look like they're good old carbon comp resistors. But no, in fact, they're not striped at all. It's just printed on there. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it says Ohmite, and is there resistance value? Well, some diodes. TV. These are the resistors for the tandem set. These guys are for the Philco 623 and my 643 as well. So for the electrolytic capacitors, I figured, what the heck, I might as well just go with some plastic film caps. These things have a life of like 100 years or more, so I got 2, 4.5, and 10 microfarad Panasonic caps. Pretty nice caps. And so somewhere in all this, I've got the caps for the transistor radio. Ah, here's one. Here's some more. Here they all are. So saying, These are low voltage. I think they're all 16 or 25, in some case 50 volt. Don't need it to be 6, but those are kind of hard to find, and even the 50 volt caps like these are so small that, you know, what the heck. I just got what I could, and I ordered 2 of each, even though I really need 1 just in case. Just in case something goes wrong. So here they all are. Alright, clear all this other stuff out of the way. And get to it. Now, the seller said that the radio didn't work. But, who knows? So I figured, what the heck? I'll pop some batteries in this thing and see what happens. You know, another one of these just sold recently on eBay, and it was the other version, the salmon color. And went pretty cheap. They only might have had one bidder, and I think it went for less than 20 bucks. I kind of wish in hindsight that I'd bid on it. Wasn't as good a condition though. Both of the snap tabs had broken off of the other case. Alright, so let's see. Here's the battery diagram. So in the back, got the positive going to this side. That's a tight fit. I guess double A has got to be the. Couldn't be triple A. It would be too small. This just fits tight. Okay. And I'm going to go the other way. I heard one common problem with these can be the earphone jack. If it gets corroded, it's not making good contact. You can lose the sound. Looks making pretty solid contact to me. Alright, let's see what happens. There's no pilot light in these, and there's no tubes to see lighting up, so it's hard to even tell if it's really doing anything or not. Don't hear anything whatsoever. So one thing I'm going to do is, let's make sure it's actually getting any power through the set. So, pretty sure that big cap right there, that has 6 volts right across it. Yeah, it's here in the schematic. It's 100 microfarad. Cap right there goes right across the battery. So let's see. Yep. A little low. But, power. See the transistors, see if anything's hot. Alright, well, certainly doesn't work. I was hoping to at least hear some kind of hiss or something, though. Huh. Alright. Seems kind of odd. Nothing. Looks on that cap. But here. Wow. It's not even registering anything. To the one under it. Huh. Neither one of these 2 caps over here are registering anything at all. So, they're not even there. Alright, well, let's pop this thing apart and pop these caps out so I can Try to test it more thoroughly. One thing I keep forgetting about this multimeter is that it actually is a capacitance meter too. I never use this mode. I keep completely forgetting. I can also do frequency. I'm not sure how high it goes. I doubt it goes into the megahertz range, but it can certainly do kilohertz and hertz. Batteries are wedged in so tight I can't get them out. How do you suppose this comes apart? Okay, so you probably have to turn these thingies. I'm not sure what you call those kinds of connectors. These things down in there. I think you like turn them half a turn or something like that, and or maybe they just snap in. I don't know. So get these knobs off first. Very careful around this antenna to damage it. Hey boy, I'm not at all certain how you get this thing apart. I'll have to take this off. There's got to be something to do with these guys. Okay. The server's info, maybe they have some tips on the disassembly. Remove the following: tuning and volume control knobs, cabinet back, batteries, 2 tri-mount fasteners at speaker end of panel. Well, that's what these things are. Apparently they're called tri-mount fasteners. Open connection. Well, just says remove the following. It doesn't actually tell you how to remove them. Philco has any info about that. This is exactly the same thing. It's funny, they remove this. They refer to the circuit board as a panel, apparently. Alright, well, I'll get this sorted out eventually. I think I finally got a handle on this. This one was fairly loose, and I can just pull up on this transformer, and this one's seems to be popped out. Now this one was the really stubborn one, especially with this ferrite core in the way, and I had to be really careful not to damage that. So what I did is I took a small screwdriver, jammed it in here, and freed this up. It seemed like there might have been a little bit of adhesive or something on it too, which wasn't helping matters, but finally I was able to rotate it a bit, and then I put the screwdriver in like so and got it, wedged it between the board and the fastener. Yeah, I think I just about got it out now. What a stupid fastening system. There it is. Why didn't they just use a couple screws? Let's well, the other side's just held in by some notches in the plastic cabinet. So let's see. This other one's loose here, but I think I need to pop it out all the way. Let's see. Alright, the first thing I want to do is take out these two caps right here. Those are the two that I wasn't getting any reading on whatsoever with the ESR meter. Turn down the temp on my soldering iron a bit. Then use solder wick to solder off PCB. It's a big glob of solder here in the middle, so I'm going to use my solder sucker on that. I got one of those caps out. It's 5 microfarad, 6 working volts. And trying the ESR meter again, and I'm definitely getting absolutely no reading at all. So let's try to measure capacitance. Garbage. It's supposed to be 5 microfarads and getting 0.24 microfarads. It's just completely shot. Alright, so let's check the new ones. Okay. Oh yeah, 5 microfarad. It's funny, the circuit calls for 5, and I actually ordered 4.7, but this is measuring closer to 5. Of course, I don't know how accurate this meter really is. Let's try the other one. No, these caps have a pretty wide tolerance. It's not marked on here, but I imagine there's something like 20%, if that. I'll use this one. I'm getting closer to 5. And let's try the ESR meter for the heck of it too. There we go. And if we go over 4.7, yeah, we're in the green. That's good. I just finished replacing all 5 electrolytic caps. Here, one here. 2 in there, one right on top of the other, and 2 over here. So I'm going to give this another try. And to do that, I will need to mount this back in here and hook up the few wires that I disconnected. Alright, I got the radio back together and ready for another test, so here goes. Wow, that's a good sign. Well, that was easy. Even with the volume all the way down, you still get some sound.
You just showed up at your school. You and Debbie are married. You just showed up at Molly's high school, and you walked her if she was in middle school. She's not anymore.
A little distorted sounding. Hopefully an alignment will take care of these problems. A lot of whistling.
The producers of The Twilight Zone wish to thank CBS Enterprises.
It's WIND, AM 560. It's probably AM 670. Same 720. It's WLS. Well, yeah, it's pretty good sensitivity. He's rotating it around to see how directional it is. Doesn't seem to be all directionally sensitive. There's a lot of stations I'm picking up, more than I'm used to with my tube radios. It's just this tuning dial is it's not the greatest. Probably be nice if there was some sort of vernier gear reduction action. Just barely turn it and you miss the station.
Check
Alright, cool. So, let's see, we've got 4 coils here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see what we've got in terms of alignment instructions. Alright. Panel must be removed from cabinet. Damn. I gotta take the thing out again. Oh well. I just noticed something odd while tuning around the dial. When I get around WLS.
And registered for the ultimate deadline.
You hear this ticking, which sounds a lot to me like one of those WWV time stations, like AM or I mean shortwave. I think 5, 10, 15 megahertz bands. It's a government-run time standard signal. So I don't know if that has anything to do with the daylight savings activity, or is there something wrong with the radio? Well, I can fire up another radio and see if we hear it on that radio too. So I just fired up on my tube radios.
We're going to jump to some other movies and take your phone calls as well. Yesterday's Broken Water.
Yeah, they're on this radio too. Weird. It's around AM 8:20 or 8:30. Weird. Well, I now know why they say you need to remove the board from the cabinet again for the alignment. And that's because the two trimmer caps on the tuning capacitor are completely blocked by the cabinet. However, you can go through the IF alignment. This would be a trimmer for the antenna and the oscillator, I believe. And, you know what? Yeah, oscillator and antenna trimmer. You know what? I think I'm just going to skip those two steps, because I don't want to take this back out again. I don't want to risk damaging anything. And that part of it seems to be working alright anyways. I'm more interested in trimming up these 3 IF cans. And that we can do with this still installed. So I've hooked up a 0.1 microfarad cap to the what do they refer to it as? The antenna section of the gang, and by that I mean the gang tuner. And that would be this. There's one little wire going right over to that coil. The other side of the cap, connection down below, that goes right over to one of these cans over here, so it's not the section we want. Alright, so we then feed 455 kilocycles from the signal generator, and we put the tuning gang fully open like it is now. So that's what they mean by fully open. And we adjust Z3, Z2, and Z1 in that order for maximum output. Now for the output meter, they say to either connect a 1000 ohm per volt AC voltmeter or a scope across the voice coil terminals. I'm going to use my scope. So I've got that hooked up here. It's simply these two lugs on the speaker. And I've had my RF generator running for a while to warm it up. Got my frequency counter hooked up, and that's pretty darn close to 455. I'd say that is just fine. So I will clip that in between this point and ground, which would be the frame on this, or the frame on this, I believe. Basically, at that point right there on the switch. Or the negative on the battery terminal. Yeah, I'll just clip it on there. It's a pretty reliable ground point right there, I think. I've hooked up my RF generator, and one thing I find puzzling in these instructions is they don't mention anywhere to use a modulated 455 kilohertz. But if you don't, you're not going to get anything. You just have a constant IF signal, but there's nothing to detect or have at the speaker. However, if I put this on internal modulation, now I've got a tone and I can see a waveform here, so I actually, can have something to look at and something to hear to adjust those coils. So I think this is really what they mean. And for some reason maybe they thought it was just so obvious that I didn't even need to mention it, so they don't include it in the instructions. Now they also say to keep the signal generator level low. Specifically, it would be low 0.275 volts. So I will do that. And then I will start going through these IF coils in the order they indicate to get and peak each coil. Probably just do it audibly, but I'll check on the scope too. Now the first one they want me to do is Z3. That's the final one. So that the idea being that you're working your way back towards the antenna. So this would be the final IF, second IF, first IF. A little plastic alignment tool here. Let's give this a try. Wow, that's surprising. That was way off. It dropped the signal level down on my RF generator because I was overloading it. It's interesting, there's actually two peaks. One with the slug all the way in. One with the slug almost all the way out. I'll go with the one with the slug almost all the way out because that's closer to where it initially was. Next up to this guy. Well, that one was, I'd say, dead on. I'm looking at the scope, but I'm listening to it, I think, even more than I'm looking at just tracing the scope. This one was also pretty much dead on. So it's just this guy. Huh. I was curious how it's dead in the middle and then peak at either end. Right about there. Alright, now as I say, the other two sections, or steps rather, are for those trimmers on the tuning cap, which I can't really get at. But we can do step 4. This is the T1 oscillator coil, which is this guy. And this one specifically say it must be remounted in the cabinet, so get that. Alright, we put the RF generator at 600 kilocycles and the dial setting on the radio at 600 kilocycles. And we adjust for a maximum. So I'll get that set up next. Okay, for this step I'm using that radiating loop. It's supposed to be placed about a foot away from the radio. And then we're supposed to rock this coil back and forth for a peak. I'd say is right there. Alright, I guess that'll do it. So, did that alignment actually accomplish anything? Well, let's see. If you recall earlier, I got some whistling down at this end of the dial as I was tuning it around.
Birthdays and your anniversary, and when it gets to your body, you're going to have less pain.
They seem to be going now.
If there was jabbing and kidding around, we were all old enough and new enough. Leave it right here. Jab a little bit. Let's get on. We got to play.
He's going to end up at Dallas, it looks like, too, next year. Yeah, that's what they're talking about.
Well, there's locations in Chicago and Lindenhurst.
Yeah, I'd say it's definitely working better now.
Well,
Stations are coming through nice and clear.
looking for a job, but then
We're heading back to the mighty WNS Chicago. Chris, well,
The cardinals, the bishops, the priests.
Lance Lewis, he was...
Riverside.
One thing I'm curious about is how long are these batteries going to last. So I just installed 4 fresh AA alkaline batteries. And I think I'll use this radio and while I'm working on my workshop and just see how long they last.
Receiving unemployment checks and
See another dial.
Cutler to Marshall for 13. The interception was Brian Urlacher intercepting and going 46 yards.
So one last thing to do is to clean up the cabinet. It cleaned up fairly well, except for this mark here, which turned out to be a stress crack in the styrene plastic. So, not much I can do about that. Another minor annoyance is this tuning dial's off center. Also, really nothing I can do about that, because this is mounted directly on this tuning cap, which you can see is off center, which is mounted directly on the circuit board with no wiggle room, and the board doesn't have any wiggle room. Also, if you look at the way these scuff marks are, it's pretty clear that this knob has always been off center. So that's just the way it's going to stay. Hope you guys enjoyed this video on restoring a Philco T45 from about 1959.